And the Wheeler Hotel was a place that we had got a job painting the inside of the hallways, the bathroom, and then outside was a brick. It was a hotel. It was brick, but it had wood trim around the windows, and we got the job to paint the wood trim around the windows at the hotel. While we was at this hotel, a lot of things took place. But I remember when we first got there, people didn't even, want to speak to us or anything like that because they didn't know what we was there for and who we was. Basically, they didn't know if we was the police or what. Because later on, after we got to know some people and stuff, that's what they said. They said that they thought we was the police just coming there to paint and just to find out what's going on inside the building, which was it was a hotel, but it was a place where people lived. You could pay rent daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. And a lot of hookers lived there. Just a lot of different kind of individuals lived at this Wheeler Hotel. But once we got there, first thing we got there that it's made like a horseshoe kind of, and we went around back, and they had a fence around back. But we looked in there, and there was just that whole area was just full of syringes. And we told the owner, we said, "You're gonna have to pay somebody to clean all that up before we go in there, because there's a bunch of needles and stuff all over the place. I mean, hundreds of them." And it's where people used the needles and they would throw them out the window, is what they'd do. And that's how they discard them. So anyways, the owner ended up paying a couple guys to take some shovels or wheelbarrows and stuff like that in there to clean up all them syringes. And once they got that cleaned up, then we was able to paint around the windows, stuff like that. While we was there, though, we met a lot of different cats there. There's one guy who was painting inside the hallway, and they had little rooms is all it was where you could actually they were small rooms. I would say about probably a little bit bigger than a jail cell, maybe. That's how small it. And then at the end of the hall, there would be a big bathroom, and then a place where you could take a shower. But everybody had to share this bathroom, that whoever lived on that floor. But anyways, we was painting the bathrooms and the hallway and stuff like that. And this one cat, we're on the first floor. This one cat comes and he goes into the bathroom. And we've been there for about a week already, maybe a week. And he goes in there and he touches his elbow against the stall of the bathroom, or the wall of the bathroom. I don't know which one. And we were painting everything black. It was like black trim and white. I think it was black trim and beige. But anyways, there was a light color on the wall, and then all the trim and the doors and all that were black. And he had got some black paint on his jacket, of his arm of his jacket. And then he come out, cussing and everything, talking about somebody's going to pay for his jacket. And he paid $100 for his jacket or something like that. And he was just wasting his time because he wasn't getting no money from nobody. And because it looked like a secondhand jacket anyways that he had on. But he was like, "Who's in charge?" And we told him who was in charge. And he went to him and he was like, "Hey, you're going to have to pay me $100 for this jacket." And then the guy was like, the guy we worked for, he was like, "What? You gonna have to make me pay you for it because I ain't paying you for it." And he said, "We've been here a week or two." He said, "We've been here a week or two painting. You've been seeing us all every day, and then you're gonna touch your jacket against something that's got wet paint on it and then complain about it." He said, "I'm not paying you nothing." So, you know, the guy had just finally just left the building and stuff like that. But that was crazy because, that guy knew we was painting there and all that, and he just bumped into some wet paint and got it's just a small little spot on his jacket, but you know, that was him for being careless basically. So he didn't get anything. Then there used to be people, shooting dice in the hallway. Because on the first floor of the hallway of Wheeler Hotel, it's a straight hallway, but then once you get like halfway down, it's got like an offset area of the hallway, and it would be like over that way, shooting dice and betting money and stuff like that. Then we get up to another floor, I think the second floor or whatever, and there's these two prostitutes, and they're both in their own room, but they got their doors open, and they drinking and smoking and all that. Just this hotel was nothing like the Marriott or the Motel 6 or anything. It was just you know they ended up tearing this building down in 1995 because there was just so much stuff going on in that building. It wasn't real. But anyways, they were going at it with each other, these two hookers, and we were in the hallway painting. And they was, are going back and forth about how good one was than the other one, and how many customers that one gets and this one don't get, and just going back and forth, just two hookers going at it. So if you ain't ever seen two hookers arguing and stuff like that, but we was out in the hall just laughing our ass off because the way they was going on with each other. And one lady came out. She was like, "What y'all laughing about?" And we was trying to hold our laughs back, but we could. And she was like, "Can you give me a light?" So we gave her a light. And then she walked back into her room. But as she was walking back into her room, she was like, "Hey, if y'all guys need anything, I mean anything, just let me know." And then we was like, "All right, we'll do that." But it was crazy that she was trying to, proposition us because, these are some girls that we would never mess with. But it was funny, though. She was just the way they was going at it with each other. It was a trip. We had a lot of laughs in this building while we was working there. Then there was two men on the fourth floor. These two guys were gay, and there was a couple. And we got to know them over time because we've been there for a long time. At this point, when we were making it when we was up to the fourth floor, and the one guy was telling us a story that when they first moved there, uh, his partner went to work or something, and some guys had got him and tied him up. I think they duct taped him, is what he said. And they took his clothes off. He still had his underwear on, but they duct taped him, and they took him up the steps. And if you go up the steps from the fourth floor at the Wheeler Hotel, that's on the roof. And they had taped him up, and then it was summertime, and they threw him out there on the roof. So, it's a roof, but it's got a hot tire and stuff like that. And so he's got tire all on the side of him, his elbow and all this, but he's yelling, hoping somebody would hear him to come and save him, basically, because he's out there in the hot sun and stuff. He said finally the caretaker, the maintenance guy at the hotel, comes and gets him off the roof and cuts the tape off of him and stuff like that, and asked him what happened, and he told him some guys, tied him up and took his clothes and threw him on the roof of the building. And this was like when they first moved into the Willard Hotel. So then later on down the road, he's telling me, and he's out here, he's telling us this story, but he's out in the hallway and he's fixing his partner's hair, is what he's doing. And they had told us they met, years back in prison and stuff like that, and they ended up being a couple and stuff like that, and that's what the deal was. But anyways, it was just, the one guy was just a regular slim dude, and then the other dude was like a muscle-bound guy. And then they tell us that when they had first moved in there, that the big dude sent the other dude to the liquor store to get something, and he comes back empty-handed, and then he tells his partner that there's a bunch of guys out front of the store and it's giving him a problem, so he didn't go in the store, he just came back. So he said, all right, we're gonna go over there and get what we need. So he goes, and I think he said it's 3 or 4 of them guys, I forget how many it was, but he said, they was all standing out in front of the store, so they walk in there, they get what they need, and he tells the skinny guy, he tells him to hold the bag and walk in front of them when they're leaving the store. And then he said when he walks out, he just lays all them guys out on the sidewalk with one punch. And them guys are just knocked out on the sidewalk, and they continue on. And they said ever since then, they never had a problem after that, But so I guess people were just giving him a hard time, I don't know why, if it was because he was by himself or what the deal was, but I bet they wish they wouldn't have messed with that dude. Once his partner knocked them all out on the sidewalk, and that's what they get for messing around with people, you know what I mean? You need to be knocked out. Giving people a hard time, they trying to go in the store, But anyways, they was just telling us some stories, and we was taking our lunch break and just sitting in the hallway, eating our sandwich and drinking our beer and stuff like that, and just listen to these guys tell us stories that happened in the past. And they were 2 cool dudes, though, and we got to know them over time, because we've been there for a good minute. And they were 2 pretty cool dudes, and they was telling us some stories and stuff like that. I was just interested, at the Willard Hotel, But there was just a lot of things went down at the Willard Hotel, We heard all different kinds of stories, things like that. One time I forget who told us, one of them people that lived there told us that a lady got real high, and she was like on the 3rd or 4th floor, and she got real high, and she just ran completely out of a window and just fell to her death, And I don't know if what she was doing, if she was smoking crack or, what kind of drugs she was doing, but she had got real high and just ran real fast and jumped right through a window and stuff, fell to her death. And we thought that was crazy, Might have been them guys telling us that because we did talk to them quite often, and but it could have been somebody else in the building too. I'm not for sure because we had encountered a lot of different people at the Willer Hotel, but them two guys, they talked with us the most there, so it might have came from them. I'm not for sure, but yeah, we thought that was crazy, but yeah, I was reading that they closed the Willer Hotel in 1995. You know, but that place was something else. It was interesting. Each day we went to work over there, it was just we knew it was going to be an interesting day because you just never knew who you was going to encounter, what kind of story they was going to tell you, or what you was going to see over there. You know what I mean? So, I had a lot of stories on Cass Avenue. And this Willer Hotel was kind of off Cass Avenue, but still it was right there by Cass Avenue. And just a lot of crazy things happen over there. But that being said, remember, if you want to support the channel, the cash out is $FC313. The PayPal DDT313. So if you'd like to support the channel, please do so. And make sure you subscribe, hit the like on every video, hit the like and notification bell. And it don't cost you nothing to subscribe to the channel. So if you want to support it and you're interested in hearing the stories, feel free. Also, tell a friend to tell a friend. Share the videos. Let's get this channel out to everybody. That being said, we're going to cut it right here. Y'all hang tough and be looking out for the next one. Peace. I'm out.